you're watching me from. I'm feeling cold today. Ooh. How are you guys doing? Thank you so much for joining me on this forum. I can see we have 3 people. Please let me know where you're watching me from. I'm going to be starting in a few minutes. And what we're going to be doing today, hi Myndspa TV, thank you so much for your unending support. George, I can see you're there. Kindly post our number, how people can reach us. For those people who want, to have sessions with us, please just make sure that you put Ras baby, hi. There are people who are so common here, so I'm excited to see you. Leangari, thank you so much for joining in from Kiambu. Nice to see you this evening. Guys, how was your weekend? How was your weekend? I'm back to the grind. Just thanking God for everything. And today we are just going to be doing the last Lorenzia and Joki. Hello, Venus. Always looking forward. Thank you so much. Today is no makeup day. And I just feel so liberated. I feel free from, makeup. Sometimes we are slaves of makeup. How is everyone doing? Malia Nyamaya, I can see you. You're watching from Sioki. That is my hood just next to my shags. Thank you so much for joining in. For the women who are here, from the Ruth tuned in from Lebanon. Karibu sana Ruth. Glad to see you on this forum. Those of us who are in the women's forum, please call the ladies, let them come. Those who are in the men's forum, let them know we are already on. Today is gonna be very short, guys. I'm suffering from fatigue, serious fatigue, serious fatigue. And today, Zara Hassan, Karibu sana, I can see you in Nairobi, sending you back the love. Yeah, so I'll do this maybe in the next, as I say, I like to make it short and sweet. So today probably we'll just be doing 30 minutes. And the reason why it may end up being very short, it's just finishing on the questions that we had started on the last past 2 weeks. And Jemina, thank you so much for joining in, gal. I'm happy, I'm excited. Call our friends. If you're in a forum, please post the link. Let them join in. Let's do this. Mental health matters a lot nowadays, guys. Mental health matters a lot. Have you been seeing what has been happening around, and especially when it comes to Joanne Nyangara? Thank you so much. When it comes to couples, have you seen the last 2 cases? Favored Sese, I can see you. I know you're always in this forum. I'm so excited to see you. So guys, what is your highlight this week? Do you guys take time to Google about events, that have to do with health matters? Do you ever, see stories? Do you read in between lines? Like, when you see someone who has just decided to die by suicide. Hi, Solomon. I can see you. Hi. Karibu sana. I think for me, one of my, Brenda Ogwaya, I can see you. Thank you. As you join, say hi. It would really be nice to just know you're here. Grace, oh my goodness, this is my very good friend Karibu Sana. I can see you're representing Gong. Joselina Kanana, I can see you. Thank you so much. Ladies, call your friends. PK from Germany. Karibu. Maria Tulayameni. Karibu Sana. I am so excited. Let me tell you, when I see you here, I get so excited. Why? You're cheering me on. Sometimes mental health. Lois, I can see you. Lois Mose. Thank you so much. Sometimes I feel mental health matters are not taken in with a lot of seriousness. Like guys just, we are so good. And I'm saying this with a lot of respect. Masi Kihara, I can see you from Finland. Thank you so much for joining in. So I was just saying that mental health issues are things that we should try and adapt and make them to, part of our lives for our sake, for our children. Why am I saying this? What you don't do for your family, what you don't do for your children, the world will teach them. And now, because we are holding these very small gadgets, Prase Dikihoro, I'll be saying hi as I continue on. Karibu Sana, I honor you today. God bless you too. Willie Kibet, my nutritionist. Guys, I have weight issues. My nutritionist is here watching me. Welcome, Kibet. Grace Murige, can see you. Karibu sana. I am so excited this Sunday. I must say that I feel blessed. And I was just saying that, sometimes I feel that mental health issues are not taken with the seriousness that we ought to give it, like the weight. And, a lot of the times we find ourselves, being carried away by so many things. And Cynthia, karibu sana. And because we are not taking time to build our families, we are not taking time to invest in mental health issues. Let me tell you guys, and I'm speaking from experience, let me tell you, what you don't teach your children. Peter Kilani, karibu. I'm excited to see you. Call the guys in the men's forum to come in, okay? So what I was saying is that what we don't offer our children in terms of mentorship, in terms of, building them up, sometimes I feel we also always miss our points, like when it comes to, media. Can see you, Sinzole, karibu sana from Kitale. So I was saying, guys, this is a thing. The world is always, the clock is always ticking, and the world is always moving. If you're busy doing other things apart from building the mentality of your children, the mentality of your spouse, the mentality of any family member or friend that you care for. Cheptolin, karibu sana. I can see Eldoret is represented. Karibu, I'm coming for Mursik. Welcome, welcome. What will happen is that the world will take over, and it will sadly teach our children, teach our spouses, teach our sisters, our brothers, those that we really care about, so many other things. So I feel encouraged when I see you here, because we need to preach this gospel called mental health. Why am I saying this, guys? Have you checked out news? And especially for those of us who are in Kenya, Boniface, thank you, my colleague. Call our friends, let them come in. Let them come in. Thank you so much. What I was saying is that if you're keen on the headlines, that are Joseph, my baba, I am coming. I am coming back. Nice to see you, Jose. Oh, I'm really excited to see you here. So what I was saying, guys, is that what is happening nowadays, in the country, and also, of course, all over the world, is really, really, can I say, there's a lot of red flags, because people have become very fragile. People have become very, very fragile. Something so small can make someone desire to die by suicide. Something, unresolved issues within, the family, couple, one to another, or extended, family, where you're dealing siblings to sibling, has made people become something else. By the time you're taking a knife to stab your own spouse, and you carry their body to an unknown place, guys, something must have gone wrong, and there's a history to it. So I always say, and I said this last week, for those of you who are new, please check out what we have been doing. This is just a continuous series. Check out what we've been talking about, communication. By the time something is happening, by the time we are seeing the headlines, there's always Leila Masila, my friend. Welcome, Eva. Guys, I'm so excited. Kampala, Eva is representing here. Thank you so much. All right. I really honor you for being here. So what I was saying is that we have become so fragile as human beings, that we end up doing things that, once we are caught up in that stage, Eva karibu sana, once we are caught up in that place of having done whatever we did. Wanjiko from, oh my God, you guys are exciting me today. Lucy Mbogo, I can see you from Doha. Wanjiko, I can see you from Kuala Lumpur. Masindolo, my friend, thank you so much for joining. Bishop Patrick, I want to honor you. You're always here. Thank you so much for joining. So what I was saying is that by the time we are hearing a story, there's normally history to it. By the time you're hearing someone, like the other day, and may he rest in eternal peace, someone just wrote a note, left it outside his house, is it his house or his girlfriend's house, and went and threw himself in the river. He just gave instructions, find me in this river. And he went and did it. Now, when I see these things, sometimes I shed tears. Why? There's a story behind all we are seeing. The final, what we see in finality, there's always a story behind it. So let's not take these things for granted. And the good thing is that I'm giving this information for free. I'm not asking even for a single cent from you, unless now later on you will be coming in for therapy. But for now, whenever you can, please just go and just listen to the small presentations that I have done, and let them build you up as a person. I'm so sure once you are able to understand the genesis of everything, then you become very empowered to deal with your issues. So last week we did the first two questions about communication, and this has to be with relationship. And today I'll just put down the other question. If you're here and you're the one who asked this question, thank you so much. I really want to appreciate. So someone asked me, Venus, how do I know that I am not overreacting? How do I know that I am not overreacting to issues? Now, let me say this. I am in a family setup, and I know that even outside that, within friendship circles, things happen and we end up getting hurt. Okay? Now, that part of getting hurt is, as I always say, it is human. You must react to things. Whoever, there are couples who come in and they say, my wife is always overreacting. She's ever crying. She's, and maybe the wife will come in and say, my husband is a stone. He has no feelings. We all see what we want to see. But I always say, we are human beings who are made of feelings. You must learn to react to situations. Sometimes it's good to just even pinch yourself to know you're the one who is going through this thing that you're going through. Okay? And you let yourself react to this. Part of my therapy, guys, is crying. Oh my God. If I was to become a millionaire because of crying, my friend, I love crying. But let me tell you, I shed my tears at the right place. And that is when I am on my knees praying to my God. Okay? So for me, part of the ways, part of my defense mechanism towards pain is shedding tears. Okay? And these reactions are normally pegged to your personality. Now, if this is your first time here and you have not listened to my previous presentations, kindly, when you have time, check out the personality, the temperaments that I did. There's the choleric, the phlegm, the sanguine, and the melancholic. Now, let me bring this to your attention. People who are choleric tend to be misquoted as overreactive. Why? Their element is fire. If you remember very well, they are quickly angered and their element is fire. Now, can you imagine trying to light up fire? It starts slowly, but eventually it becomes a great flame. What I'm saying is that sometimes we end up just being a presentation in reaction of our temperament. Okay? Take, for example, someone who's a phlegm. These are guys who are quiet. They don't know, they might want to hide even when they're having their own pains. We all are different. Now, I want to underline this. We are entitled to a response. Why am I saying this? It is healthy to respond to issues. The only time that I would have a problem with the reaction is when it jeopardizes your life. Now, there's some of us literally existing in toxic homes. Okay? And you're just there every other day. Today it's ulcers. Tomorrow you have high blood pressure. The other day you're going to get diabetes. Basically, there's a trigger in that environment and you try to ignore it. Okay? And now, because you're trying to ignore what is happening around you, what is happening is your body internally, the hormones, the stress levels are shooting up. And something is happening to you physiologically. That's why you end up getting ulcers, bleeding ulcers. And part of the things that I tell people, by the way, it takes you just stepping out of a toxic environment. Flozi karibu sana. Just stepping out of a toxic environment and feeling the peace. Let me tell you, peace can heal you. Peace can heal you. Now, to someone else, that might be an overreaction. So we are always saying things based on how we think. But bottom line, guys, is as long as this is not jeopardizing your life, your reputation, Gladys karibu sana, reputation of those you're in, Rose Ngolo karibu sana, those that you are with, or you're doing it for selfish purposes, then I think every one of us is entitled to reaction. If you don't react to situations, I pity you. Mamake karibu sana. If you don't react to situations in life, let me tell you, I pity you. Rachel Gitonga, thank you so much for joining in today. All right? So we are meant to react to situations. Now, let us put this, into the context of a relationship. Okay? So, what example can I use today? Oh, okay. Let's just use very common things that come into the therapy room. Like someone will say, okay, my husband has been cheating on me, or my wife has been cheating on me. And the signs are on the wall. Basically, this person doesn't care about you. They don't, your tears will never move them. Whatever you do to try and communicate to them that you need their support, they never show up. They're not interested. Okay? So maybe because you are the maturer, of the two of the two of you, you decide, okay, I would like to also find out, like, what is happening. Like, maybe I found a text. The types of communication. Maybe it was a visual, maybe it was a verbal. You had a conversation on the phone, and the other person just, loses it, shouting, insults. Please note that this other person is the one who's on the wrong. They're insulting you, they're shouting, they're breaking things. Now, that is overreaction. Why? There's someone who has raised here, the sender of the message. You remember the sender? You remember what we talked about the part one? The sender of this message has raised a concern that they feel that, the relationship is in danger. Why? It seems like you're cheating. Okay? So they express their concern. But the response that they get from the receiver, the person who's supposed to receive this message, leaves a lot to be desired. Okay? So they end up overreaction. And I want to say this because a lot of you, I know, have questions. When you see someone overreacting, sometimes when certain issues are being raised up, just know they're actually guilty. Now, I'm speaking as a psychologist. They're very guilty, and they're trying to kind of like intimidate you so that you don't address the issue. Okay? We all react in very different ways. But people who are guilty, they will starve you of that which you want to be done. For example, if you want that issue addressed, they will derail you. They will do things to make you feel like you're the one who is on the wrong. Like you're the one who is to blame for the situation. Yet, they're the ones who are on the wrong. So we need to be very careful because half the time, we end up suffering because we cannot read. We cannot read what this other person is doing. And apart from even reading, you don't want to accept. Take, for example, if your partner is cheating and you have seen communication, you have seen photos, you have even been told that this person is cheating on you. Then you're there, you're hanging on. You go to church. Jesus, save my situations. Oh. Jesus says faith without action is dead. There's a role you must take in this saving that you want. Jesus is in heaven. God is in heaven. You're on this earth. You're dealing with someone who is on this earth. It is a high time, guys, we stop living in denial. Face issues head on. If this thing that is attacking you is a monster, put it on the wall. Label it. Say, you are cheating on me. Say, I feel unloved, unsupported. Put that thing on the wall. Look at it clearly and now start sorting your situation. And when you're doing this, do it for yourself. Do it for yourself. You're the beneficiary to all this. This thing of like someone is dying because, I see parents coming in and they're so stressed. They're because your daughter or your son is busy doing things that are very, they're jeopardizing to the family. And you're losing it. Literally, you're losing it. Now, you've taken a problem, you've owned it. Okay? Yet, this person who's on the other end, they're still living their life. When you think of a spouse who's cheating, they're having fun, literally, at your expense. They're thriving. They're glowing at your expense. So when you need them to come in and support you, they're not there. And then you start suffering. You start crying. You're sick. You're not eating. You don't want to even receive calls because of someone who is living their lives. Guys, if you're listening to me today, I'm going to tell you, mental health starts by accepting that this life is yours. There was you before there was the other person. That is the truth. There was you before there was even your child. There was you before there was even that other person who's your trigger. So why don't you start sorting out your own peace? Why don't you start sorting out this thing by your own? Assess yourself. Understand how you feel. Then ask yourself, what is my trigger here? Is it that I'm feeling bad? Brenda Santi naongeza volume but ni kidogo. Self-love. Yes, Wanjiko, it's self-love. Is it that what is triggering me today? Is it because this person has cheated on me that I feel like I'm losing it? Now, I would want to talk more about this, but I think I'll pick it up in the next topic that we are going to be discussing, because at the end of the day, as I always say, if someone is having fun at your expense, you need a wake-up call. Because you're going to die, you're going to be buried, and still they will live their life. So this smile that you have on your face, you must own it. You must create it. You must be the one giving yourself that internal joy. As long as you're dependent on someone else to do something for you, you're a slave. And that is what takes people to extremities. That is when you hear people saying, okay, I don't feel loved. I don't feel like he's doing this. And at the end of the day, you end up losing yourself. So it is okay to react. Be human, guys. Even me, I react. And someone else, they would say I'm overreacting. But I like it because I can feel. I'm able to call things out as they are. Because I do realize that I am human. So if you're flat-faced and you never react to situations, then we have a problem there. Okay? So I never say there's any context like in terms of, overreaction unless it has to do with self-harm. It has to do with selfishness. Ego. Me, I'm very big on ego, because where there's ego, there's no God. Okay? Where there is, where these things are being done to harm yourself, that one for me is a no-no. So I hope I've exhausted that question, and thank you so much to whoever sent me that question. The other question that I was asked is, what do I need to do if my partner is slow in response and ends up draining me? Lois Mose, yes, thank you so much. The question is, what do I need to do if my partner is slow in response and they end up draining me? Now, when it comes to intellectual ability, we are also different. I mean, basically, we scored different grades. There are people who are very good. They would lead from behind, okay? So, and there are people who just basically don't need, to be in class for long. They always understand the concepts behind everything. Now, such is the case in a marriage. Such is the case in a relationship where you find yourself, you're very fast, you're a fast thinker, you're so creative, and then your partner takes forever. And I mean forever with a capital F, forever, to understand, first of all, even what you're saying. When you're very creative, if you're a creative mind, you're always excited, like, wow, we buy land, we're always thinking about buying land. Why don't we buy land, and then on that land we build this and this and this, and ideas are flowing from you. And then your partner tells you, oh, give me time to think about it, or they just don't tend to understand what you're saying. And it really ends up making you feel like, wow, do I really want to have a discussion, such discussions with my partner? Why don't I look for someone else who can understand what I say and probably be a partner in doing this? Now, let me say this, guys. We all have different abilities, even when it comes to the marriage. First of all, we must learn to embrace each other, knowing that we all have very different brains. Yes, there are people who might be very slow, but in other things, they are very fast. Okay? And relationships are about compromising. You bring your half, I bring my half. And the other half that you're not bringing is because you're not perfect. Okay? So you bring in something and the other person is able to meet. Now, allow me to delve a little bit into this equation for relationship. Now, there's some spouses who are over-dependent on people, on their spouses. Basically, you're a vampire. Your work is just, you want to be loved through and through. You also want to be given the money, so that you do, you want to sit pretty in the house and do nothing, when the other partner is busy working their hearts out, for the sanity of that relationship. Now, what happens is that relationship, if you look at it from an analogy of a seesaw, it ends up bending towards one side because one person is carrying the heavy weight. The other person is, yes, Grace, I'm talking about vampire. There are people who drain others. They drink your love blood. Your love blood. Is it like something like love blood? Yes. They drain you literally of anything. You have to beg them to give you support. You have to remind them, do this for me. Change the bulb. The TV is hanging. It's almost falling. They don't see. Or go and cook. You see? So, ideally, since we are different, we must learn to accommodate each other, but also bring out these issues of concern to our partners. Now, if you don't express yourself, if you don't communicate, how will that other person know that this is what you are thinking about them? Okay? Watu wa kunyonya tu leeches. Yes, Yvonne, leeches are there in relationships. It is just the reality. Yeah? So, what I always say is, for you to be able to liberate yourself from this stress of going through, vampire mode, communicate, express yourself. Tell this other person that you'd appreciate if they adapted to a certain routine. Okay? A certain routine. Take, for example, I'm a mother. Now, I get so busy doing 1, 2, 3, 4 things. And sometimes I may end up losing the connection that I have with my children because I am maybe in sessions and I'm not able to do anything for them. So what happens is that every other time I will come back based on that week, the demand for that week. I will decide maybe when I'm on a break, I'll spend time with my daughter, we'll do something, maybe we'll wash the dogs or something. So it creates that forum for me to be able to do something in the house that has to do with my duties, because I love dogs, I sell the dogs, I keep the dogs. So it is my duty to ensure that I contribute when it comes to that hustle. All right? Now, if you find that you're in a relationship where you are the one who's always borrowing money for the relationship or giving all your money for the relationship, okay, you're the one who's going to be waking up very early to go and till the land and all these things that the Bible says. Okay, and then on top of that, you're the one to provide the love. Let me tell you, in the end, at the end, you're going to be a skeleton. And I mean that literally, you're going to end up a skeleton, a shell of yourself. While the other person is going to be extremely fat because they have sucked out blood from you. Liz, my fellow counselor, thank you so much for joining in, okay? So guys, this slowness, we will accommodate it, we'll allow it, but let us be able to voice our feelings out, okay? Once we do, there's something called learning. We never stop learning. Guys, I'm in my mid-40s. I've never stopped. In fact, half the time, if I'm not doing therapy, I'll be reading. I love reading. I invest in books. Okay? So I'll take time to learn. Where I'm falling short, I'll do my research. So that at the point where I'm reacting, are you getting me? At the point where you are responding to a situation in the relationship, at the point where you're bringing your feelings, you have facts, not fiction. Facts. You're putting out facts. This is what I feel. Thank you, Bishop. This is what I feel. You have read, you have researched, you have assessed yourself critically, knowing the role that you play. And then now you move to the next step of addressing the issue. Now, some of us just don't even know ourselves. Let's just start from there. You know that people come and ask, okay, so tell me more about yourself. You don't know about yourself. You're 38. You don't know who you are. You don't know what God created you for. How will you be able to sort out issues? How will you even... So you're the kind of person someone will just come and say, I don't like you. You look like you're so proud of yourself. And you'll be like, gosh, he said that. She said that. Who has a right to label you? Who has a right to label you? Because as long as I know I have a heart that is beating and it belongs to Venus. And this thumb, the fingerprint here, that no one else has it. So who feels entitled to come and tell you you're selfish? You're this and this. Guys, knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. And wisdom is something you search for. By experience and also by going through, raising your spiritual levels. Okay? So learning will never stop. Even in the relationship, we must learn to learn. We must love to learn. Take for example, today, if you're here and your issue is communication, then you're doing the right thing. Because we are here, we are learning. We are engaging. Okay? If your issue is sexual intimacy, you're frustrated, go research. Maybe it's just because you don't brush your teeth as you go to bed. And that time maybe you've come from eating these things, these things that just are not pleasant. And you want to romance someone. It's impossible. Unless the other person is not human. I mean, who wants to be, engaging with that? Okay? So it is so important, guys, that we learn to also kind of like know what's on the table in terms of knowledge. And then we can use that now to sort out our issues. And if you don't like to learn, why don't you think of mentorship? Mentorship is easy. Basically, you look for someone who you admire, someone who has shown ability to lead well. Like when you talk about, communication, there are couples you even see, they're so, my God, they're so in sync. Me, I love it when I go to Europe, not badly. I'm not saying that Africans, we are not romantic, but we have to agree that our culture has not promoted romance very well, the way it's supposed to come out. But when there are couples who just look like they're very, engaged, the love languages just come out very well. There's the touch, there's, the nice pet names and all that, And when we move to those sides, when we're told, Mombi, my mentor, karibu sana daktari, so when we shift to those cultures, how is it that we end up adapting to those lifestyles? That is mentorship. We are in environments where people do things differently. and we start adapting. And it is so powerful. Mentorship is so powerful because we can literally even end up changing our accents. Bishop Sandy, thank you so much. I can see you're watching me from Lagos. Amen, amen, amen. So we end up, adapting. Where your environment shapes you, your environment molds you, your environment has the ability to grow you. Okay? So if you're going through issues in relationships, why don't you look for people who can mentor you? If your issue is spiritual, I love it that we have a lot of bishops in this forum. Okay? You go approach someone. One of my mentors, by the way, in fact, I think most of my mentors are bishops as well. Okay? And you sit down with them. They will bring for you the godly perspective. They will also speak from the experience of handling other people who are in the same space or who have been in the same space as you are. And they give you the right advice. You can never have a friend. I say this. If you have a friend who is failing in their relationship, basically they're not stable. They say they'll do things and they don't do things. And you're saying, oh, this is my best friend, and you're taking advice from them, you're a failure. I'll not even say it any other way, because you are who you hang out with. That one is a fact. You cannot say you're hanging out with thugs and you hang out with them because you want to go and pray for. They will influence you. Okay? So at the end of the day, mentorship is so important. Now, the third thing that I want to bring when it comes to even communication, because some of us are just uncomfortable about how we do it as a person. You feel like you don't have the confidence. You look at Venus and you're thinking, Mili karibu sana, thank you so much for joining. Shiromwita, thank you so much, for joining in. So what I was saying is that, now when it comes to coaching, some of us feel like we cannot communicate very well. We don't have the confidence. You look at someone like Venus and you're thinking, my God, that girl, yeah, me, I'm crazy. I've taken time to build. If you know where I'm coming from, guys, I never even used to be able to face people. So life is not about sitting there pretty and doing nothing and you expect magic, the magic wand, to come and transform you. You must work on yourself. This is your life. I'll keep on saying that again and again. On your life, work on yourself. Margaret is saying, show me your friends. I tell you, yes. Show me your friends. I'll tell you where you're going. Okay? So, coaching now is a tool that we use. Sometimes I have clients who come in and they think, okay, I'm coming, I think I have a problem. And then I realize your problem is just not therapeutic. It's not just psychological. You need to be taught how to engage with certain life skills. And that is where coaching comes in. And coaching, guys, it is intense and it is expensive. Now, I get shocked when I see people coming in and say, oh, you're not giving it for free. My God, I pay for tickets to travel abroad to go and study. You want me to give you for free? I only give things for free when God tells me. And there's a year I gave mental health services, a whole year for free. I never used to rest. I was there available. But guys, when you have to pay the price to grow, please do it. Please do it. I'm still in school, even to date. And every time I have to pay the fee, I make sure that I pay the fee. So why is it that you don't want to get quality services? Sometimes you also need to consider that. Free things, Free can be expensive, okay? Eventually, because you may be misguided. Take time to also assess the value you get from someone. Now, in coaching, we remove you, we rewire you, we unwire what we don't want to see. So if you're coming to me and you're saying, oh, I'm shy, I just don't feel like I communicate. So I let you speak, I'm taking my notes, I'm analyzing you, and I'll tell you these are your problems, and this is what we're going. So I come up with a structure on how we are going to engage. For couples who are not good at communication, we work towards that together. A very structured approach, almost like, class. And I challenge you, there's a lot of homework. But the good thing about this is it grows you. The few guys I have worked with when it comes to coaching, my goodness, they have mighty testimonies. And I thank God, because I cannot say it is me. Let it go to the person who needs to be honored, because it is God. For me, I'm just a vessel. For me, I'm just a vessel, guys. So I'll not take any credit, but I love it when I see people growing. When you grow, it means the people who are under you will grow. You'll challenge them to grow. Okay? So for the person who also gave out this question, I really want to appreciate you, and I hope I have answered you well. We are saying that if your partner is slow in response and you feel like they end up draining you, engage in learning, but first you must communicate to them your frustration. Then both of you, or if possible, if your partner doesn't mind doing the learning alone, let them engage in learning. Okay, we said knowledge is power. Secondly, you guys can just decide to get mentors, and you get into, you're coached by people who have gone through, that experience. Okay, and the third one, of course, is what I say, what we do, life coaching, where we take you, we assess you, we unwire you to rewire you. Okay, and that is so important. Now, a safe space, I want to put in caps, highlight. A safe space must be created for this. Yeah, a safe space. You just don't go and tell someone, hey, I think you're just being affected. I noticed you didn't perform well in school, and I think that is why you're the way you are. That's an insult. That's an insult. So there's a way, guys, we need to learn to communicate. Give the right conditions. Empathize. What we call UPR. What do you call unconditional positive response? Embrace this person. Let them feel like you want to help them, and you're not judging them. Now, when you start from that, approach of like, hey, I understand, you failed in school. Yeah, I know you say that you've been slow in school, but I don't expect you to be slow in this relationship, because you've already insulted that person. So always create the right condition, the right environment, the safest space possible to be able to allow your partner to communicate, to be able to allow both of you to grow. Okay, we talked about silent treatment, guys. So I'll not go back to the same. That was in part 2. Now, the other question that came in is, when is the best time to communicate? When is the best time? Is it in the morning, Venus, when I wake up and I'm moody? As women, we like saying there are days that you're just moody. You wake up and you see your spouse is a devil. He has 7 horns, and you just don't desire to engage with him. But sometimes you just feel like, the message cannot wait. So at that point in time, whatever comes out from you is very toxic. Very toxic. There's no best time to communicate, but I want to say this. You must learn to read the mood. Read the mood of your partner. When someone is fuming, they are angry, they are, and you're there, you're now like, yeah, let's, nothing will happen that is constructive. There'll be you will end up getting into a worse situation. It's always good to let that person calm down. Now, I hear people saying that, when my partner is having silent treatment, when they are silent, I don't want to disturb them. I'm giving them time. There's nowhere silence is anger. There's nowhere silent is anger. So when it comes to this question, the right time is to communicate is the time where your spouse is showing they are not okay. If you're a man and your wife just goes off because something has happened, that is the right time to communicate. If there's no anger, if there's no, there are no tantrums, that is the right time to show concern. What has happened? What have I done that is wrong? I mean, simple things, guys. We end up complicating things and paying such a huge price for our pride. What have I done to make you feel this way? What can I do to make you feel better? My husband, my wife. Now, when your spouse comes out clearly showing they're not happy with the situation, and you decide like, my God, I'm not in the mood to communicate right now. Okay, you keep on delaying the communication frame. This person is just, flaring up, building momentum, and the worst happens. So the right time to communicate is when things are not okay. When you first find the first red flag, sit down, slow down your day. Ask your partner, what have I done? Because I sense you're not okay. How can I make you feel better? Part of the rules that we had with my better half was the sun should not set if we have not sorted our situation. That was a rule in our house that had to be obeyed. And you see, we there's a way we used to, go for days. I thought, I was badly off until I had someone to tell me 6 months, silent treatment, same house. There are things I can't do, honestly. Okay? So instead of going through this long, period of suffering, or probably you're communicating, but every other day you wake up, you look at each other, you start insulting each other, liar, imbecile, I don't know what, sorry, pardon my English, but can you imagine? Why don't you just, avoid this, this very, this derailing things that we do, eh? Why don't you just be empathetic and ask, by the way, what have I done? I would like to hear from you, because I don't want to make the same mistake. And when you're doing these things, you're not doing for your spouse. Let me just tell you, that is a trick, eh? You're not doing it for your spouse. You're doing it for yourself. You're the first beneficiary. Why? You will have peace. You will have peace. But when you put, when someone is telling you, I feel, and you're like, okay, you just continue feeling. I have no time for you. I mean, guys, the worst will happen. People always remember how you made them feel. That is a fact. Not what you did for them. How you made them feel. And it always matters how you respond, guys. Very, very important. Some of the rules you need to follow in communication is, first of all, you have to be disciplined to obey the rules. Secondly, what is your role in that relationship? Are you the husband? Are you the wife? Are you the mother? Are you the father? Very, very critical. When you know what your role is in that relationship, you're able to bring it out in the way it's supposed to be brought out. Okay? So critical is the right time to communicate is when the communication needs to happen, or when you see the red flag. We are talking about now when there's a certain dysfunctionality in the relationship. Now, let me see. Guys, 1 minute. I am just trying to get. Okay. What is the single most trigger? This is the last question. As I said, we are already at 48 minutes. Okay, this is the last question. What is the single most trigger of miscommunication? That was another question that came through. What is the single most trigger of miscommunication? My answer is very clear. I'll put it in two. First point, illusion. Illusion. There's a way, guys, we process our thoughts. Some of us process thoughts by talking a lot. Some of us think a lot. Some of us analyze a lot. And some of us just we feel things a lot. Okay? And all these things are cognitive ways of dealing with information. So always bear in mind that your spouse sometimes doesn't want to say things, because they have a fear. Okay? So that illusion is what makes, miscommunication happen. We don't understand that there's a way we process information. Okay? Now, the second thing is blame game. Blame game is where we give free passes. We magnify our spouse's problem. All right? We magnify our spouse's problems. So eventually, we end up in a black hole called resentment. Now, what happens is that when you get into that hole of resentment, you continue now, you no longer are a couple. You're no longer a family. You're no longer maybe an organization, that is working together as a team. Okay? You now start working things out as individual. And sometimes release is so important. But part of the things that I've said earlier is that we need to have anything but anger. Anything but anger. Silence is okay. Okay? Silence is okay. And hurt can make someone very, very vulnerable. Now, when we are angry, we push our vulnerability and it pushes away the people who trigger us. And the end result, guys, is what I call damage. Communicating is what makes you angry. If communication, is what makes you angry, then keep quiet, first of all. The other thing, and this is now a solution. Let me now move to solutions. Why don't you try and raise your standards? Stop going into rabbit holes with your partner. It only makes things worse. Try and approach, there's an arrogance, can I say complacency that happens with couples. When we start, we are so in love, my God, communication is upbeat, like, baby, you're hurting me, and the other person is responding, that is when we are, in that love, stage, where it's all honeymoon, okay? But as we continue thriving in that relationship, our standards go lower. So we are always going into rabbit holes. How about, challenging yourself to be more kind, more empathetic, more sensitive to their needs, okay? Ignorance is joining their madness. For example, if someone is angry, okay, and you decide you're going to ignore them, you're basically joining their madness, all right? Now, using statements like, I would love it, when you tell your spouse, I would love it, when you show more concern. I would love it when you do 1, 2, 3, 4. I would love it. Is a good way of giving your partner your expectations. Okay? So that's said and done, guys. Today we are going to be just slightly below the hour. I am done on the topic of communication. If you had any question and you feel probably you need more clarification, I'll ask my team, the Myndspa TV, to please just post again. I think it must be on the chat, our numbers. If you need therapy, please do not be ashamed. Now, I say, people who are mentally strong seek therapeutic services. I cannot even emphasize this more. If you're mentally strong, you're not ashamed of seeking therapy services. So we do this, like for us, for me as Venus, I do this online. Thank you, Helen, for that. I do this online because at any one point, I may not be in one space that I can be able to move from one point to another, but online sessions have created the forum for me to see anyone all over the world. Anyone who's out there and they need the services, I am able to, I'm glad to always be of help, to help you deal with your challenges, okay, as an individual, all right? So if you're there and you're struggling with some of these issues, please don't feel ashamed, reach out. We are going to support you. Part of the things that I always say is that you must have a strong support system. As therapists, as counselors, we don't judge you. There is nothing we don't hear in this counseling room, okay? But what we do is give you very positive regard. And our objective at the end of the day is to help you, be able to do what? To deal with your issues while still, feeling loved and, well taken care of, all right? Part of the things that we also uphold is confidentiality. It means even if it's your sister who brought you to me, I cannot go out and start telling them, now your sister came, she said 1, 2, 3. No. When we go into a session, it's between me, you, and God. Okay? The only time I am obliged to give out your information is if you're self-harming, or probably where you are, the governing, rulers of that land want your records. But it is strictly between me and you. And the objective here is to challenge you to come up with solutions and to also grow you as a person. And let me tell you guys, there's nothing as liberating, there's nothing as, fulfilling as growing. You're never going to be perfect. Even me as Venus, there's no time I'm going to be perfect. Perfection, we are leaving it for God. But so long as we are having the mentality that we can do things, we can always move towards the right direction, towards a positive direction, I would say yes, that is the attitude. So that's it and done, guys. Let me wish you a pleasant week. See you next week, same time. I will now be moving on to the next topic. I want to believe that we are done, with communication. If you're new to our channel, please make sure you support mental health by just clicking the subscribe button. And I want to say thank you so much for those of you who have supported us so far by subscribing to our channel, and of course coming back and giving us comments, feedbacks, on what you'd want us to talk about more and how we are doing things. So we are really grateful. That said and done, enjoy your week. God bless you. Bye bye.